Dr. Smash Productivity allows you to see which employees of yours are being productive, as well as which employees are bringing money into your company instead of costing you. The way it does this is fairly simple. There are two ways that we get this information into Dr. Smash. The automated way, which is you purchase the productivity readers. Your staff then clock in to those productivity readers, either through the use of a fingerprint, facial recognition, they could use a code, they could have cards. All depends on what model you buy, how you want to be set up, all those sort of things. So they clock in, they then type in the job number onto the productivity reader, and the productivity reader stores that information, sends it back to its software, and Dr. Smash then imports that. This is obviously the more expensive way to do it because you have to purchase physical hardware. So we have written Dr. Smash to allow you to avoid the purchasing of hardware, but it means you now have to capture that information manually. So what would happen then is your staff would, as they start working on a job, they would fill in a timesheet saying, I'm now working on job 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and its start time is 8 o'clock. When they then go on to their next job, they type in, okay, or write on that timesheet, I'm now going on to job 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's now 10 o'clock. You would then capture that information on Dr. Smash, and Dr. Smash would do the relevant conversions to make that information useful to you. So without further ado, let's go over to Christine, let her show you how that all comes into Dr. Smash, and let's learn about productivity.
Right, so it has now come up with a list of all of our employees and a list of all of the jobs that are actually open and on our system at this point in time. What data are we going to use? Well, obviously we're going to do yesterday's timesheets, and we're now going to start. I am going to do Dwayne. I'm going to do the paint shop, and I'm going to say that at 7 o'clock in the morning, or no, he actually only started at 7:15. He started on, let's go down to the end, and let's do it on Philip Cox. So on Philip Cox, at 7:15, he started working on Philip Cox's job. So we allocate the selected. Then at 8:49, he then started working on Coca-Cola, and we allocate. At 10 o'clock, he went on to downtime because it's now tea time or whatever you're wanting to do. At 10:30, he went on to, I'm going to say Mark Borman, Mark Borman that we did, we say selected. And let's say he worked a couple of hours there, so that at 12 o'clock, 12:26, he actually then went on to Reynolds, and you allocate. So basically what you can see, what I am doing is literally going through his day as to what he has actually done and what jobs he has actually worked on, and just allocating it to that. Now, all I'm doing is his start time. He started working on this Nana at 14:23. So the computer knows that that's when he started. The minute you say that he has now gone on to 16:30, he went on to now, it now knows that he stopped working on Nakanana at 16:30 and has now started working on Nell. Also, this is linked to your time and attendance. So it's now saying that he is working on Nell, but then when he clocks out for the day, it will now stop him from having worked on Nell, and that is his end time for now for that day. So literally that is all you're doing. You're just going through each one of your staff members and actually writing up what their timesheet is and who they have actually put the work against. Now, as I said, if you have the readers, all of this is automatic. Again, it is on a timer. It pulls the information from the readers and it updates all the time, quite regularly, as to what jobs your employees are actually now working on. So, where does all of this information actually go? If I go into my admin, time and attendance, and I go to jobs by employee, these are all of the employees that have actually been working in the productivity in this time period that we've actually just done. If I want, I can go to Dwayne, I can have a look, and there's all the times and the jobs that I have put against Dwayne's against Dwayne himself. So you can see he worked a total of 8.25 hours. So therefore his day's work actually bought, well, it cost us 545 Rand and 33 cents. At the moment, he is currently working on that particular job number. Right, so we can close that down. So you can see that was your employees, jobs by employees, but now let's actually have a look at viewing of our jobs, and we can have a look at the time on the jobs. These are all the jobs that have productivity hours against it, and I'm going to use our Mark Borman that we have actually been doing. So I go in, I double click on Mark Borman, and now these are all the people that I have put productivity hours against. And you will see that each one of them has their own departments, and then it fills the information in at the bottom here for you. So mechanical and stripping, on our quote, we were allowed 10 hours for stripping and for mechanical work with a value of 2,500. Of our strippers and at the top here, they took 5 hours and 40 minutes, which makes it up with the labor rate that we've actually got in. It now gives you a value. So it tells you what the difference hours actually are. So we have made a profit of the 2-3. Our panel beating, we actually only quoted 1 hour for 250 Rand, but our panel beater, who happened to be Raymond, took 8 hours to do that 1 hour's worth of work. It cost us 700 and odd Rand to actually now pay out for it. So we have lost money on our panel beating side of things. On our paint shop, exactly the same procedure. That's what we quoted. That's what was actually taken. And so we come out with our figures and things actually on the system.
So the value of the screen, obviously we have got it in report formats as well, which we will hopefully show you a little bit later on. But the value of what we're showing you here is it worth having your best painter on a job? Does he make you money? He might do it in half an hour, so he can do it a lot quicker, but he costs you a lot more in that half an hour than getting your appy to do it. He might take him an extra 2 hours. It takes him 3-4 hours to get the job done. But because his hourly rate is a lot lower, the profit that you can make from it is higher because his cost to you is lower than what your top of the range painter is. So you can now start gauging who's actually making you money. They might be doing the things faster or more efficiently, but are they actually making you money? So when we go through the report, you'll be able to see that a little bit easier, or it'll at least flag information to you so you can see that see where those adjustments might need to be made.
All right. Okay, so we can actually have a look at that job. And you can do the same for any one of these jobs that you want. There's our Cox that we actually did as well, and you can now see his system as well. On this one here is his difference hours is he was slightly over, but at the same time, money was actually still good. So that is where Michael was actually saying to you, he might have, the hours that he took was slightly longer, but his money was actually more. His money made you a profit, but his hours took you longer. So you can see what, in that particular case, just like Michael was just saying now. Right. So that is the productivity side of things. It's so difficult for me to actually be able to show you because there is downtime. We put Dwayne onto downtime. So we can go to downtime and there's a list of everybody that went onto downtime and how long they were on downtime for and what the value of that is that they were on downtime. So you can now see that downtime is actually costing you that amount of money throughout the day and try and do something about it. You can actually authorize people's downtime as well, but you can go into set and say, yeah, right, yes, okay, your downtime, that was fine. So you can set the downtime to say that it has now actually been authorized. So all of these type of things can actually be done throughout the Dr. Smash program. So that you can figure out how much your workshop staff are actually costing you. And as I said, we have tried to make it as automated as possible so that you do not have to worry about, oh, have I imported, have I done this? It's actually all in the Dr. Smash system and it does it all for you and brings through the results for you straight away. All right. If I go into my jobs, my view current job, you will have noticed that I've actually brought Borman back. I've reopened him up as a job so that I can go through these things with you today. I go into my Borman, I go to my invoicing, job productivity overview, and it is the exact same screen as we saw just now. So there's two different ways of getting to it. You can either go through the actual job or you can actually go through the productivity side of things itself. All right, so that's productivity really, but shall we go through some of those reports that Michael was actually showing you? That would be under your
time and attendance.
Time
and attendance reports. There you go.
Right. And we're going to do per job, or we're going to look, yeah, let's go to per job.
Yeah, per job is the easiest way to do it.
Right, and we'll do by a month, and we'll look at March. Do we want to show no clocks?
No.
No. Right, because what that will do is will only bring through the jobs that have actually got productivity against it. So this is now the answers. These are all of the jobs that you have done, and it's exactly the same as what that screen was earlier. It does your productivity, your panel beating, and your paint shops for you. It allows you all hours, and it's exactly the same. You can see everything on the system.
But the nice thing about this is obviously instead of having to go into each window and check on each job, it's now giving it all to you in one place. But what you can do is you can take this a step further. If we go on to the other report now, because if you can jump to the other report, that'll be great. The other report now allows you to break down one employee for multiple jobs. So it's what it does nicely is it looks at what you were allowed. So let's say we're talking about a stripper, for instance. The stripper is allowed R1,000 for that job to be done. But 5 different strippers worked on that job during the period. So what it does is it takes the total number of hours worked on that job and divides the money between the hours that have been worked, and then times that by the number of hours that specific employee has done work. So, Chris, if you can just make that full screen so people can see, you can see that the allowed hours for a mechanical strip and assemble was, okay, let's go further down, sorry. Let's see one that's got filled information. Paint shop, they were allowed 3.5 hours, but this employee did 1.93 hours during that period. So his allocated time, because there were other people who worked on it, he was only allocated 0.89 of the allowed time, which worked out at 2,000 Rand. So for the time that he spent at his labor rate, he had only cost you 127 Rand to do that time or that amount of work, but you were allowed 2,000 Rand for that same time period, if that makes sense. So that employee is productive for you. He's making you lots of money. Where you'll probably find if you go to your other guys, they now have a different labor rate. You might find that that's your expensive guy working on it. He might have worked on it for a shorter period of time, but his costing was a lot higher. So your values come through showing you the productivity, who's actually making that money. Thank you very much for joining us. There will be some more webinars coming up as they are processed through our graphics department. So those will go onto our website, onto our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We hope to see you soon. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe so you can get a notification for each one of those videos as they arrive. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Cheers.